Our City Investments LLC, and all around, let's have some fun. We're here on the 5-minute full circle strategy webinar this evening, and I will apologize. I'm not feeling very well. It's been a very tough last week and weekend building and making things happen. Normally in these webinars, we talk about the strategy, we talk about the system, who we are, what we've built. How many people are in the chat room right now by just typing the word new, haven't purchased yet, you haven't bought in, maybe this is even your first time, or maybe your second time, but you haven't bought in yet, just so I can get a pulse of the news. There's Kenny, brand new, welcome. There's Eric R, new, welcome. Alan, welcome. I want to thank you for taking, Stefan, looks like he's about to type new, possibly. I want to thank you for all of your time coming on board. And I know that, you know, when you first showed up, you're probably like, what the heck's this guy talking about? This isn't a webinar, it's crazy. This network, this company, this solution, everything that we've built is like anything else that will ever see. And we've made it that way for a reason. Somebody asked me today, why do you do this? Why do you go out of your way to help people trade and learn this process and treat them the way you're treating them? And I told him, because I'm paying penance. Not because I did anything super bad in my life. I'm not trying to defeat karma here. But 2 years ago, I made some decisions in our investment firm, our marketing firm, to invest money into binary options overseas. And I talked to a lot of people, and when I put out that we were going to be getting into it, and I'm always a very hopeful and positive individual that I can make things work, but I wasn't prepared to be scammed, because I thought we had done the research well enough to find out and found that there was no remarks about these international binaries. So a lot of people got into them. And I told myself that I would work 10 months of Sundays, a year of Sundays, to get back to that position where I could find to help as many people as I can to get to their idea of success, because that's what I promised people way back when. And I knew that I needed to find a network and a company that would treat people solid, that would be transparent, that would be honest and upfront. And in doing so, I couldn't find all the parameters that we were looking for in this industry. So my partners and I built Our City Investments, which at first built Dex Signals. And Dex Signals is a company that provides a signal base for Forex market deliverable through Nadex.com, an exchange here in the United States. And we were building this out. We needed to build something that was going to be transparent, ethical, have good training modules, and because we couldn't find it out there. We couldn't find the entire package, right? There was always companies that had a little bit of each. I could tell you right now, I couldn't find anybody who had decent customer service. Everybody was crazy. You know, take you a couple of days to get back from anybody. And literally, we looked at a lot of places to try to find something. Just couldn't find it. So since we couldn't find the entire package, my partners and I said, you know what? If we can't find it, we're going to have to build it. And so we started with Dex Signals. About a year into having Dex Signals, and in March of this year, we revamped all of our signal network and also started to look at how can we improve our quality of our products and what we have. Because we have signal type people, we have people who like fast signals and strategies and training. But one thing that we kept on getting asked is that, you know, what indicator should I use this? How should I validate this indicator? And there were so many companies out there that, let me tell you, trying to find a good signal or a good indicator network is harder than trying to find a good signal company. And the signal company is damn near impossible to get somebody. So we knew we needed to build that as well. And that's where Dex Indicators happened here in October of this year. Now, we're very new as far as in October with Dex Indicators, but we're not new to the industry. But we also knew that if we were going to build an indicator network, we needed to build something that we would be proud of. And I can tell you right now, I'm very proud of Dex Indicators. In building the indicator network, we needed to build something that was also going to be easy to use, simple to learn, and follow just a handful of instructions, but also back it up with a strategy. Too many signal or indicator networks out there, they can give you like a little one-page strategy, but nobody has the in-depth strategy. Nobody has the learning system that's behind it, the availability to consult with the people that made it, that designed it, that programmed it, that found the strategy and tested it, that are willing to ask their customers to help share the data so we can all learn from it. There's no company out there. If there is, let me know, because I will jump and up and down and go and ask them to join forces so we can make this thing happen. But let me tell you, we've really looked, and there hasn't been a single company we've found that meets all the requirements that we wanted. Well, we wouldn't be in business. I'll tell you that right now. I'd be working with them. And long story short, our company really needed to progress and give an opportunity to as many people as possible, because as we were bringing more people on and people were starting to see how the system was working and what they were doing, they were finding that the simplicity behind it all, the training centers, the values of the indicators themselves, how they work, began to open their eyes to what the networks, what the trading really was. Okay, so everybody that wrote new in there, just that there's 3 of you, I know there's a couple more that are in there, and it's okay, you don't have to answer. But if you're new to the concept of trading completely, then you're really going to enjoy this network. Even if you've been in the industry for 10, 15 years, you're going to enjoy the simplicity behind the process now, because we're going to strip away a lot of that BS that's probably been piled on top of you for a while. We're also going to give you an opportunity that you can trade and learn how to trade using Nadex, which is a safe company here in the United States, as well as in the future here, okay, be a part of something that's even bigger than trading within the network, okay, because we're giving you opportunity, not just in learning how to make a strategy, but learning how to manage money, learning how to manage the investment portfolio, how to get it taxed, there's going to be a tremendous amount of information that you're going to be able to utilize within your business, right? Now, as most of you know, maybe some of you don't, that you are a business. The moment you start trading, you become a business, and you have to treat it as such. And we want to help you do that. Now, I've been working at home now for more than 9 years now, and I have found that the one thing that gets me going every single day to get up and make this thing happen is that I know that I don't need to answer to anybody else but my customers and my partners. And that's what keeps me driven every single day, is that I have the opportunities to be my own person, stand on my own merit, and make things happen for me. So hopefully we can help you get there as well. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about things that we do here. We're going to talk about, the way the systems unfolds and how it all progresses. But we really need you to know that all of it's designed around you trade. So it's really about education and trading assistance. All right. You're also going to see you might see some trades that have been done by other traders. All results may vary. So you have to know that some people become very good at trading 5 minutes, some not so good, but we have a progression with the process. Now, normally I would sit here and tell you all the rules and solutions to the trading strategy and what it all is, right? But really, I have to kind of defer a little tonight, because we've had some things happen over the past week. Last week, we had a presidential election, and we've had a lot of protesting and the market and fluctuations and everything else. So I need to kind of just draw a blank slate for you tonight. Tonight's going to be a little bit different. We had a very unusual webinar on Thursday, which we sort of, got everybody into a trusting format of what we were doing. But tonight I want to kind of give you an overall value and an overlook, a macro look, a 10,000-foot look, if you will, of not only who we are, okay, but where you're going and what you need to follow when you start with working with us, whether it be through Dex signals or Dex indicators or what. These always aren't about sales. This is always about the perfect system, okay, to making it sound everything polished. But I need you to know that if you're here tonight, you're here for a reason. You're here to make a difference. Maybe some of you bought in and you enjoy some of the uniqueness of these webinars each night, that they're always a little bit different. You're always learning something. We're always giving you an opportunity to hear more about what's happening, giving you an opportunity to be investors in the core building of what we have done. Or maybe you're brand new. Maybe you're like some of the people that we talked to today that I did webinar or I did consults with. Talked to one gentleman that saved him a lot of money from going over to overseas binaries, or just an opportunity to have somebody stripped away of all that nonsense of trading and indicators and all the craziness. Or maybe I helped walk you through a process today that was frustrating you and you finally got it figured out. It just takes a couple of minutes of my time. So if that's so, let's get started here right now. The main concept of Dex indicators and Dex signals is to provide solution. I could use my mouse, can't use my finger on that one. Is to provide solution. And that solution is real simple. It's your success. Now, your success may have many different levels, right? Michael's success might be different than Eric's success. Alan's success might be different than Kenny's success. And your idea of success, I should say. But one thing's for sure. You all have a destination you want to get to. Maybe, and I don't think I've met too many people yet that have said, I just want to be at supplemental. I just need a few extra bucks for spending money on the weekends. That kind of mentality doesn't look for new systems or programs or companies to be a part of. Taco Bell money, yeah, right. Just a six-pack. That's what you're saying in the chat room. But you have to understand, there are people out there that have that mentality, but they usually don't stick around too long. If you're here tonight and you answered the call on one of the Facebook pages, or maybe you've seen an article, maybe you heard somebody say something about it, whatever brought you here, you typed in Nadex strategies on the internet because we're on 350 keywords on the first page of Google, whatever it might be, one of the things that you're looking for is opportunity. And that opportunity, because you don't know what you don't know, might be being held back from yourself because of what you don't know. And the only reason we know better is not because we're perfect, it's because we've had to struggle and punch ourselves through that process, almost like pushing through the sound barrier. The idea of taking the information that we have learned and sharing it with the world is one that's not new, but is one that is not widely used enough. People want to charge an arm and a leg for all this stuff. That's why we turned all of our training on Dex Signals into free membership, because we wanted people to be able to get the information freely before they got signals, so they can learn how to become a trader and strip away and know how to use the tools, and then go out into the world to hone their craft. This is why we give pro bono stuff out all the time. This is why we give systems to people who are really wanting to make it work, or we listen to people's problems and help them with the solution for their financial side of it, to try to help them learn how to trade more. And this is why we'll always be honest with somebody if we feel like they shouldn't be in the world of trading. And I've had to do that a couple of times. It doesn't make me perfect. It makes me comfortable with who I am to tell somebody that, because I always know that I'm doing it not to hurt, but to help. Another value of Dex indicators and Dex signals that we need to commit to is communication. We need to be able to communicate with all of you. And in communicating is sharing results. Okay? It's consults. Now, consults are really just that. It's a meeting. It's you and I sitting down talking for a minute or two, or half an hour if you're on indicators. And you can set up as many of those as you need. The point being is that information that we share back and forth, your results on what you're doing on Google, on the Google spreadsheets, the consults that we spend a half an hour on the phone talking, we begin to learn a lot more. And on every consult that I have met with anybody, I've always learned something. And I share that information. So imagine your trials and tribulations help us, ours help you, and then we can help even more people. Sounds like a pretty cool circle, right? Now, another factor of Dex indicators and Dex signals is training. And this training is unlike any other training you're going to go through. It's not perfect, but the first part of it, you have to do something. You have to strip away all that nonsense that you have out there. And you have to learn how to trade in a very short period of time. Part of the webinar, I said it takes about 400 trades to really get the 5-minute series down, right? To get the strategy down, right? So if it takes about 400 trades, if this was 100% true, and I said, and you 100% believe this, 400 trades, and everybody agreed, if everybody in the room agreed to this 400 trades, how long would it take you to trade to get that information? How long in time-wise if you were doing 1-hour trades? 400 hours, right? If I had this as the 1-hour strategy system, most of you that when you first come in would fail. Does anybody know why? Because as traders, we're trained in the world. The world trains us to be impatient. That's right. Because we are chock full of emotion when we trade. We have to attach ourselves to it. We have to emotionally try to obscure our success because we hedge our success as well, because we know that if we lose, if we fail, somebody has to be held responsible. And this happens a lot. We've done it all of our lives. So when you first come here in indicators, we sort of put into a package that you have an opportunity to go wherever you want. And your mind, your abilities, your wishes will lead you to the pathway that you need within Dex indicators. Because you'll be going to the indicators, you'll go to strategies. If you gravitate to a 5-minute strategy, especially now, that's what these webinars are. We talk this to the world. We tell people about 5-minute strategies. So here's what happens. We get you into a 5-minute strategy. And what does this do for you? One, it trains you fast, right? Because how many trades can you do in an hour? Right? There's an opportunity to do 12 an hour, right? If you only did one at a time. But I'm not saying do multiples. I'm not saying you should do 12 an hour. But you have an opportunity to do 12 an hour. The best rate's usually between 4 to 6 an hour. And you could do this. There's plenty of people in the room that have. So learning this in a fast-paced, this can do one of two things for you. This can help you or hinder you. Because the second thing you start to do is start to build that repetition. Right? And that repetition really starts to temper your ability to handle the loss and handle the win. Right? You handle the win and loss at this point. Another part of the process of the 5-minute trades is to allow you to learn the rules, right? And the system. The rules and the system for Dex, for the strategy, and for Nadex, and for MetaTrader 4, and all of those things come with when you package it all together, what do you learn in those 5-minute trades? Not only are you learning how to do the win and loss, but you're learning how to enter and exit into Nadex. You're learning how to put working orders on. You're learning how to get in and out early on a trade. You're learning how to avoid the trade, how to refresh the screens, how to take a journal and place it into the process. You're learning a tremendous amount of stuff in that 5-minute chunks of 5-minute period. And you're doing so in a very short period of time. It begins to hone your ability. Has anybody ever worked out with, like, or trained, or seen a baseball player pick up 2 or 3 bats at once and swing them? Do you ever see anybody train with a 50-pound shot put and then shoot over to a 10-pound shot put? Yeah. You're training your body and your mind to learn the system at a very fast pace. And as you begin to go through them, you begin to subconsciously draw in a lot of information as well that we're teaching you. Also about the pairs you're using and the assets you're using. Also about the session time, because you start to notice trends and patterns within the system. But you have to follow the rules. You have to be disciplined. I talked to one trader today. They tell me, well, I've added this and I can do this. What if, and I stopped doing them this because of this. I've only done 10 with this way, but you start adding in all these extra systems, you're not following a disciplined line. So now every time you change it to be something that you think it should be, you're heading off in a different direction. In this 5-minute series, it begins to teach you a process. Now, here's a base for you. If you come here and learn the system, and you trade your first, because we tell you to trade 100 trades, right off the bat. And this 100 trades is going to give you your GSR. If you love acronyms, you're going to love this place. GSR stands for gross success rate, right? And gross success rate in this first 100, if you are 60 to 80%, it means that you need a little bit more work, because there's some things happening in there that you have to, either the market's really super bad or something is happening, or you have misinterpreted some of the rules. Maybe you've gotten in a little early, maybe you've gotten in a little late, maybe you've pushed the realm of the discipline a little bit too much, maybe you're trading during news. There has to be some work in there into that process in this first 60 to 80. But this is okay, because this is not uncommon in the very beginning, especially if you've never traded 5. If you're brand new to trading any of it, you could probably guarantee you're going to be somewhere in this area, right? 60 to 80%. If you're closer to 80%, there's a lot of hope for you. If you're more 60 and below, 65, right in there, you got some work to do. But listen, repetition is what's going to get you, okay? And this is what's going to help you get to that up to 80% and above. If your GSR is 80 to 90 your first 100, you have something very manageable and very, very close. You can sincerely, within the next 100 trades, hone your craft so strong in 5 minutes that you can go to work for an hour a day and make the same amount of money that most traders make in a week. And you can get to that point, but you have some choices when you're at this level. And I'll tell you what those are in here in a second. But if your GSR is 90 to 98.7, now you notice I didn't say 100, right? Because this is the highest I've ever seen it in the network. And I hate to tell you who that is. That's unfortunately, that's me. And I say unfortunately because I'm the one who invented it. So not everybody has that process down to be able to do that. And I did that in my first 200 trades. So I can't tell people to go out and do that. I have to get customers to prove this factor. I don't like putting this out there, right? Somebody said to me today, sounds too good to be true. And I know it's not, Max. I know you wouldn't do that, but it sounds too good to be true. Why does that sound too good to be true? Because scammers have to make it sound real. And unfortunately, the people that are real, we have no choice but to be real. And of course, scammers will make it sound like that. Now, in most cases, things that are too good to be true, the grass is always greener on somebody else's side because they're taking care of it. So I allow the results from the customers, from the people that are sharing their trades with us to hold true. And really, from 80 to 94, 95%, the average success rate with amongst the customers happening right now, there's money being made. There's things happening. There's people learning the processes. So it is available. Now, if you're at this level right off the bat, that first 100, whoa, let me tell you right now, you have a opportunity to trade very, very well, very, very fast. Okay. Now, the next batch of 100, when you get to your 200, this no longer is your GSR, it's your NSR. This is your net success rate. And why this is so important is because by your 100, on your 100 trades, you could probably do them really quickly, 3 to 5 days. But by the time you get to your 200th trade, you need to slow it down, because in your 200th trade, you're going to start trading with 5 contracts. You're going to start really focusing on which ones are the perfect ones to take, right? You're going to let some of that information you got subconsciously start working with you, right? You maybe follow ones that are in the trend. You might see some ones that have happened before that, you'll just listen, you'll pick it up, trust me, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And in 200 trades, you'll be like, Max, I can't believe it. I've had so many people tell me this so far that I can't believe how intuitive I've become, seeing the process happening, knowing it's unfolding, knowing when not to trade is just as important, if not more important, on when to trade. And you begin to pick that up by your 200th trade, right? By the time you reach your 200th trade, you're trading with 5 contracts because you need to get a whiff of balance increasement, right? So you need to have, that feeling that this can grow and what it can become, because you're going to utilize an algorithm called CVG, or an equation called CVG. And this is consistency plus volume equals goal. And this NSR, if this, okay, is between 85% and 95%, this is your life now. It's trading 5-minute binaries. That's your life. You can really make a very decent living doing it if you can stay at that consistency level. Because there's at that level, being able to zip in, avoid news, grab $300 or $400 for the hour. Okay, how much money do you need to make per month? These are questions that you'll ask yourself when you're doing your money management training. How much money do you need per month? How many trades can you do a day? How many days a month can you trade? Those kind of things. And once you get to that point, once you get to that 200 trade, remember, all this is in demo, right? I'm not going to kid you. You better be training in demo. You better not be paying Nadex or the market makers for making mistakes and learning. And if this took you 2 weeks to do, how many of you ever gotten a career that you can make $50, $60, $100,000 a year? Name a price. Just name a price. At 85%, 95% success rate, all you have to do is add volume to your contracts. So name a price. What is that price for you? How many of you could have ever done that? If it took you a month to do that, how many could have ever taken and found a career in a process, a solution, a business opportunity, anything, name it. Name anything out there that's like that. Of course, except anything illegal, dealing drugs, slinging hash, whatever it is called. But again, this is completely up to you. Do you have the discipline? Do you have the want? Do you have the will? And a lot of this stuff, it really does come down to your personal solution, your personal situation. Now, word of warning, if you need bread on the table, if you're doing this with your last $10 or $100 or $200, no Hail Marys here. You got to be prepared for the long haul here. Now, if there are certain situations and you need some help with, learning some more and getting things going and need some, comp time, I'm all for it. I want to help you out. Let's get you going. But you have to pay for your tools. There's no charity here. You have to work for that process. There's a solution that we have. We call it Trade It Forward. We're looking for recipients for all kinds of things that we're doing. We need help in strategy testers. There's a lot of stuff that's out there that we can do. But you've already had to been here for a month or two, and you have to show that you got a concept understanding of the whole process. So I digress a little bit. By the time you get to that 200th trade, you're really starting to make that thing happen, right? Now, what happens if you're not a superstar? What happens in that first 100 trades, you were at that 60 and 80%? What happens by the time you get to the 200th trade, you're really honing in right around 80 to 85%. What happens to that point? What do you do? I'm going to tell you something that most companies would lead with in the very beginning, right? But we have a system within our 1 hour strategy that I've talked to probably about 30 different traders that are using it, and they use it only as a secondary resource. And every single one of them says the same thing. I've only lost one trade, or I haven't lost a trade yet. I'm something in O. Me personally, I'm 89 and O. I'm 89 and O right now on this system. But I have to be honest with you. I could have a loss, one loss. But I don't know if I count this loss. Maybe I'll ask you. If I made a boo-boo and I went the wrong direction, I rarely make boo-boos, right? I really like my money. If I made a boo-boo, if I went the wrong direction and I lost, does that count? If so, I'm 88 and 1 right now. Okay, because I got out right away, so it wasn't a full loss. I mean, I lost $42 on it, right? But I want to be transparent with you, okay? Because I don't want you to hear 88 and 1 now and 89 and 0 later, right? But it shouldn't count. But in my case, I feel like it has to count because it burns me a little, and I hate making mistakes. But I haven't found, I talked to Amy Kuipers. 15, 16 in a row, I think it is, or something like that. I can't remember what you told me earlier, Amy. I talked to one customer today. He's telling me, I'm putting about 60% on my system. And I said, have you been trying anything else? He goes, yeah, I do the 1 hour. I did 15 and O today, or 15 and O last week. I'm like, okay. 15 and O on a 1 hour strategy takes you about 15 hours of work to do. And really, it's not the work that probably what it takes you to do, set up a trade on the 1 hour, and you can wait a couple minutes and it fits out. But 15 hours worth of work, what does that look like when you're trading, right? 15 hours of work times $20 per contract, right? Even if you just did one contract, what is that? $300? 1 hour to expiry, right? No scalping, right? 1 hour to expiry. Check this out. 15 and 0 the gentleman did. Amy did 13 and 0, proven. Okay, I did 89 and 0. Okay, well, again with the 1, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't scalp any of them. So let me ask you a question. This 15 and 0 that gentleman did an average of $20 per contract, right? So it's real easy math, $300. How does he make 600? Does he do 30 trades? No. He puts on 2 contracts. Same amount of work, just made $600. Right? How does he make $1,200? Puts on 4 contracts. Are you getting it? And when I asked him whether it was hard to do, he said no. In fact, it's the same system. You just follow the 30-minute and the 45-minute bar instead of the 3 and 4 and 8 and 9-minute bar. So tonight's webinar is not so much just about 5-minute binaries. It's about you. If you're here to make a run at being a work-at-home trader, to make this your life, then what you need is a company that will stand by every decision, every part of the process for you. You also need a company that will talk to you, communicate, strategize, build, trust. You need all those things, and we're proven for that. You also need a company to grow. And in growing, you need them to grow in the right direction, where they're always thinking about you. So I'm going to give you a little heads up. Some of you that are brand new, that haven't bought in yet, I want to give you a heads up. And I want to challenge you. And I'm going to ask for the sale right now. I'm going to ask you that if you are one of these people that really want to make this work, go to the website and buy in right now. Maybe not right now, right after the webinar, right after we're done talking. If you can afford to do it, if it's something that you can do to give us an opportunity to earn your business, if it doesn't work out, you'll get a tremendous amount of information. If it doesn't work out, we can part as friends or what have you. But what you are going to get is this concept of growth, and you're always going to see it. Not in just making, hey, check out a brand new 55.00 sniper 5-minute trade scalper. That's not what we're here for. We build solid systems and programs that are very simple to use, but they take discipline and hard work to make them happen. There's no, put in only 3 minutes a day and you can make $65,000. No, that's not what we're here for. We're here to be real with you. Why? Because we are you. We are in every moment, and everything that you have done, I can find one customer in our network that fit in those shoes you've walked 1,000,000 miles in. And I've heard it, felt it. I sat on the phone with a gentleman who had lost everything he had in this damn industry. And I had to tell him that I didn't think it was right for him to try to come at it again. It was tough. It was tough to tell somebody the truth because he didn't have the wherewithal to follow, to download the systems, the MetaTrader, the indicators, the process, even to follow the signals and choke them up and do all that stuff. And he said something to me, I wish you just had it on the website so I can do it. But he wasn't the only one. So we began to listen to customers and their, not complaints, but their suggestions on things that they needed and would like to have seen. They wanted to be able to see charts on a web-based site. They wanted to be able to add indicators to those charts that are on the web. They wanted to be able to look at a signal, click on the chart, and see the signal on the chart on the web, on a web page, in a download. They didn't want to have to download software and learn how to install and work and trick and feed and demo and all that stuff, and then re-demo every 2 weeks and just to get stuff for free. They wanted the information and process. What's the best choke up? What's the best process to use? They want to be able to click a button, add a set of indicators with a strategy, and know what that strategy means, and a signal fire off for that strategy. It doesn't make them lazy. It makes them that they want to be proficient. I understand that. So we're building Dex Trader, and Dex Trader is a trader station basically, and it will house the charts, the platforms, everything. Pretty crazy, right? Let me see if I can find it. There it is. This isn't a life model. This is the mock-up that I sent the company. Now, originally, I was making. This would have been my mock-up. This is what I would have built, right? But what they're building is 1,000 times better. I was actually building the software. You want to talk about transparency? I couldn't handle it. I really couldn't. I couldn't handle the in-depthness that it needed to be. Once I got into working with the APIs from the systems and the companies, I had to actually bow back and say, okay, my system will only handle a couple hundred, but I need a system that will handle several thousand. Why? Because this system is not just going to be designed for the 5-minute intraday and dailies. It's also going to be designed for more assets that are in here, as well as Forex. And that, my friends, is where the game gets opened up to $1 trillion a day market. This system in here will be obtainable. The first phase of it will have daily signals and a process center and the admin network all set up within 2 weeks by the 28th of this month. Less than 2 weeks, by the 27th of this month, sorry. And that solution is one of the most powerful things we've ever built and will be building, because it's our concepts, it's our algorithms, it's our process center. This little tiny trader station is run by about 6 different processes behind the scenes. And why this is so important is because it is the starting base that soon after that this 2.0, 2.1 is being built right after it by adding on indicators that you'll be able to click onto and then click on the strategy button to apply the strategy to the chart. And it will too give you all of that process. Phase 3, which is happening in, because phase 2 happens in, and it'll be finished within a month. Phase 3 will happen as a month and a half. It's every 2 weeks. And that's what this company and I have sat down, is to house out that process with the workload that needed to be done. At phase 3, we get to apply the Nadex API and a Forex API, so you can switch between the both. Because remember, Nadex and Forex have 2 different processes. Nadex is its own exchange, has its own pricing, its own market price, its own variables. So you'll be able to switch between both of them. Now, if you're wondering how important that is, it's about precision. Yes, in phase 2, we're trying to work with investing.com to get their news API as well. And there is some things that we can do, but it's very difficult to turn that into what we need here. But FF, Forex Factory, has a calendar program that we're taking to kind of work into this solution as well. And it has a little bit better coding process than investing.com does. So there's a possibility that we can have, and even the data company that we're getting has a news-based solution in there that we can apply. And it will filter. You can click on a news filter button that will be made available, and filter out the signals that are surrounded with news. Now that, even for the daily signals, is pretty powerful, right? So as long as you have your news filter on. Yeah. So what's the long and short of all this, right? Some of you that are brand new are like, man, there's a lot of stuff. And it should be. It should always we should always be over, we have a lot of things. But I want you to know that at any one line, you're only going with one pathway. You don't need to go with 50 different solutions. Yeah, the news filter will be on all day tomorrow, right? And that could be. But you can house it down to the 5-10 minute period, and it'll reduce those out. So, but listen, the network itself is designed around the growth. It's all those things that I was telling you, right? But what you need to decide on is where your destination is going to be within this process, because we have a lot of things for you. So there's doing the trading, there's being a part of the company, there's becoming an investor. We have an investor platform. These will be things that we're designing and programming out, like the Dex Trader. We have a radio network, we have a communications network, we have a marketing network. We have all these things that are happening. And if you're making money with the network, what better person to go to and ask for investment is the people that you trust, that trained you how to invest and how to be a trader. Because their systems are real and that they're true. Why couldn't you? So here's what we have. The system itself for that Dex Trader is $147 just by itself. That's not including Dex Indicator or Dex Signals or anything else, right? That's just the Dex Trader system, right? It's $147. The Dex Indicator series is $147, right? But I want to give you an opportunity, and I don't want to make this all Ginsu Nivey, right? Or Ronco-ish, right? As they call it, right? That if you act now, you'll get the both for the price of one. I want that anybody that buys in from now until the 18th, okay, because we have to make a cutoff line at the 18th. Any customer that is in before the 18th of this month, that's 4 days from now. That's Friday, I think it is, right? Is that what it is? I think it's Friday. Yeah, that's Friday. That's this Friday. Okay, is going to get everything we have, Dex Trader, and because if you're a member of Dex Signals or Dex Indicators, you're going to get the Dex Trader system for free. Okay, because that's really important, and it's going to be all the releases of it, even the Forex stuff that we're going to be charging more for, even the ad indicators that will be charged more for, And the regular customer base that'll pay for it will get it at, I think it's like the 147. So I think it's like 297 total for everything, right? And that's per month. But there's a lot of training in it. So whatever you're paying right now, that's what you're going to get everything for. Now, the big thing too is that if you're watching this after the fact, is that if you're here tonight, if you're one of those people that typed in new, or if you're brand new tonight, and this appeals to you, if it's something that you need, maybe you even need somebody to talk to you after the fact. You know, you can go in, get a free membership, peruse the site, make sure it's real. Go to the booking, click on booking. In the room, in the notes on booking a consult, say that you're either a free member or you just need pre-sale consult, and I'll help you out. 15, 20 minutes, whatever you need at that point, right? But if you go and you buy tonight, if you go and you're able to get into that situation and you pull up the consult and say you bought tonight in the comments, okay, there's some other things that I want to be able to give you, but I want to talk to you those on a personal level because I want to see if some of these other things will work for you as far as trading and training into this process, okay? And we can get to talk for a little bit. But use the code DEXSAVE50, all right? And get $50 off your first month. This will bring it down to about 97 bucks, all right, for your first month. This will give you an opportunity to check stuff out, kick the tires. You definitely, I can guarantee you're going to learn something. Go through all the training, right? Go through all the strategies. And it's DEXSAVE50. You'll save $50 for joining us here tonight. For all of you that are watching after the fact, I want to say thank you for your time. And I really do appreciate you all being here and watching these. And I know you can't everybody can't get to all of them, but I appreciate you being here. And I hope that you don't mind that I kind of went off reservation. I'm finding my headache went away about 3/4 of the way through this thing. But I want you to all know that there is so much opportunity for everybody here. All you got to do is reach out and make connection, and we'll be there for you. You have a great day. Everybody else in the chat room, stick around because there is so much stuff that we can talk about in the chat room and, you know, help you answer questions. And please start to ask them in there and I'll get you set. I'm Max Farrow. This is DexIndicators.net, and we'll see you all inside. Trade well. Everybody else in the chat room, stick around.